Hi, everyone, and welcome to Confessions of a CX Manager. This is a series where we chat with Chattermill users about the real, unfiltered side of customer experience, all the wins, all the struggles, and everything in between. So I'm joined by Reeshma Clair, who is a global voice of customer lead at Simply Business. And we're going to dive into how she's using Chattermill to tackle these challenges in customer experience. So, Reeshma, first of all, really great to have you here. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And Rishma, I have to say, I've been really waiting for this conversation, to be honest, because first of all, I don't know if you knew that, but you are actually one of the most active users of Chattermill. So I'm really happy that you joined us today. But secondly, I actually saw on your LinkedIn that you've been with Simply Business for over 16 years. Is that right?
That is right. Yes, been here a long time.
But this is really amazing and very impressive. So maybe let's start from if you could introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit more about your role and what are your objectives as a CX leader?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Reeshma. My role as voice of customer lead is to objectively represent the voice of the customer. So I provide key insights from both our current customers, but also potential customers, and ultimately to help the business to interpret and take action on that customer feedback. So at Simply Business, we regularly monitor changes and any influence on customer satisfaction, as well as any impact to customer sentiment. We're really happy because our customer sentiment is very high, which is great. So on a team level, I'd say our overall objective is to champion the voice of the customer. And that's across all levels of the business. And there's a number of objectives that ladder up to that. So collating the feedback, identifying any emerging themes, and providing that in the most effective way possible for the business to understand.
It sounds like you've been working with customer feedback for quite a long time. I want to chat a little bit about the importance of it. Obviously, customer feedback can be a gold mine of insights for every company, right? It can guide your decisions in almost every aspect of the business. So, what would you say? What specific areas are you looking to improve or understand through customer feedback right now?
So I'd say our overall goal is to continually improve all of our metrics that we use to measure customer satisfaction. So it's not just a single metric that we would look at. And I'd say that requires a dual approach. So we look at what customers think Simply Business is doing really well. But we also look at the areas where customers believe that we could improve. So for everything that we're doing well, the business can see where we can step that up. And for those areas where we see room for improvement, we make sure that all the relevant stakeholders are aware of that and are across that feedback. So that information sharing is constantly an ongoing process. And to foster a truly customer centric culture, we proactively share all the feedback and we democratize the insights as well to make sure that all of our colleagues across the business have access to the feedback and are as close to our customers as possible.
And that's so great to hear, actually, because I working with so many customers, I know that it's not something easy to make sure that everyone has equal access to customer feedback. Many times, different teams like product operations, they have their own metrics, they have their own reporting, even sometimes their own tools. So it's really difficult. It's really a challenge to make sure that the entire business is actually customer centric and that everyone is looking into exactly the same KPIs and metrics. Now, just like I mentioned, I'm super curious actually how you've been using Chattermill. So tell me a little bit more. How does Chattermill fit into your daily workflow? Let's say, what's your usual first step when you log into the platform?
Okay, so definitely a big fan of Chattermill, as your metrics demonstrate. And I say Chattermill really puts customer feedback at the heart of what we do. So it allows us to analyze, to synthesize, and also ultimately act upon thousands of pieces of customer feedback, which is super important. So on an almost daily basis, I'd say, and as you can probably see from the metrics, I do log into the platform. I have a quick scan at all the customer feedback that has come in the previous day to quickly identify if there are any urgent issues that need to be immediately addressed. And that's really important, particularly when we've got new product features, new enhancements to ensure that everything's working as smoothly as can be expected. So That's how I use it on a daily basis. I'd say I also, at the beginning of each month, use bespoke dashboards that I have pre-created. And that allows me to identify any key themes that have been prevalent in the feedback in the past month to see how things might have changed. And every month at Simply Business, we have a dedicated customer forum channel. So that's actually a cross-functional representation from across the business where we all come together, and as part of this regular forum, we review customer trends, we identify any changes in customer sentiment, and we use these actionable insights to help identify any opportunities for improvement.
Wow. So it sounds like you're looking into your feedback data on everyday basis to stay on top of it. You mentioned dashboards are an important part of it for you and for your team. Could you maybe walk us through how you use a dashboard or a report that you're looking into on a regular basis?
Yeah, definitely. So we gather feedback across multiple touch points and through various channels, including SMS, email, website surveys, review sites, to name but a few. All of the feedback sources we have are integrated into Chattermill, and that makes it super easy for us to get closer to our key customer metrics and our key customer sentiment. So we've set up various bespoke dashboards for various teams across the business. So they do differ depending on the need of the team. And we've also used the automation workflow feature so that the dashboards can be published in Slack, which is a company wide chat communication method that we use. And that allows easy access to the insight in real time for all the different teams. So that's just another way to demonstrate how we're making sure that feedback is going to the right people and to ensure that they have full visibility of the insight and they can action and prioritize work based on that insight.
That's great. That's such a great way to make sure that everyone is informed whenever something is important is happening. And speaking of that, creating workflows and making sure that everyone is informed, how do you make sure that other teams are actually looking into that feedback data on a regular basis as well?
Yeah, so we have various forums in the company. So we have company wide demos, we have town halls where we would share that feedback. The Slack channels, as I've mentioned, are really powerful in getting across the raw verbatim feedback the customers are giving us. We get a lot of positive feedback, which is great. And about our agent experience, our customers will often mention specific agents that they've had a great experience with on the phone. And I will actively make sure that agent and their manager gets that feedback so that they're aware of it. We also have quarterly voice of customer reports that we publish where we showcase the key metrics, any changes in customer sentiment. So we have lots of different avenues and ways in which we communicate all of the feedback.
That's so great to hear. And I love the example that you gave about passing that positive feedback to a customer agent because it's just so easy to fixate on negative feedback, right? We often focus on like fixing what's not working, on the negative things. And it's as equally important to share that positive feedback as well with the rest of the team. And speaking of examples, actually, this is my favorite part because whenever I speak to customers, I really love to hear about some of the examples of insights that really made a difference for them, right? Or really changed something about their strategy. Can you share any example of an insight that you found in Chattermill that had a significant impact on your strategy?
Yeah, there's been many examples actually, but the recent one that comes to mind is Chattermill has helped us to gain a really good understanding of our different touch points across our customer journey. So at a transactional level, as well as an overall holistic level. And for our customers who make a claim on their insurance, we were able to identify through the data that they wanted to have a better understanding of what is included and what isn't included in their insurance policy. So, what we've been able to do is improve how we communicate this, but also where we communicate this. And that's helped our customers, and we've been able to manage their expectations a lot better.
Can you tell us a little bit more? How did you address it, that feedback?
Yes, we identified at a touch point level for these customers what were the areas of frustration, how have changed over the years. We were also able to use, which I'm going to come on to, I think, but the net sentiment analysis tool. to be able to identify, okay, these are the top areas that we need to improve. If we fix these, we could potentially improve NPS by X. There were specific areas that came up, part of that analysis, and communication and making it clearer, as I said, was one of the areas. So we made it clearer across various touch points on our journey. We have also been able to add this, I guess, this feedback, this copy to more places. So customers are definitely more informed now.
I also wanted to maybe talk a little bit about just the general advice for other CX leaders in the space. So, what's one thing you wish more CX managers knew about using customer feedback effectively? What would be your advice?
I think it's really important to get the business as close to that customer feedback as possible. So at Simply Business, we endeavor to get people in the business as close to the feedback as possible. So it benefits them to know exactly what the customer is thinking, what the customer is feeling, what they're saying, even if they can't immediately act upon that. And in particular, we have a great interest from our senior leadership team, which is really great for us because it helps us to lobby change for our customers. So, yeah, my one piece of advice would be share that feedback. Oh, there's no such thing as oversharing. Share it where you can and let the business see the value of the feedback and how they are influencing that.
I love that. I really love that because I know how important it is to use solid data and also customer feedback whenever you're trying to build a business case internally or convince your senior management to your ideas, to your projects. So I really love that idea of including that feedback in those conversations with senior management. Thanks for sharing that. This is a time for what I call rapid fire questions. So I've got a few, and let's try to answer them just with whatever comes to your mind first. So, what would you say is your secret superpower as a CX leader?
Okay, so I'd say my tenure at Simply Business. So you mentioned earlier, but I've been here such a long time. I've got intimate knowledge about the business and about our customers, and I've read thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably pieces of feedback. So the fact that I've worked at Simply Business so long and I know the industry and the business and our customers really well, I'd say is my superpower.
What's the first thing you check in Chattermill each Monday?
I don't actually work on a Monday. So as much as I love Chattermill, I don't go into the tool on a Monday, I have to admit. But on a Tuesday, I do have a quick scan of all the feedback that has come in the previous day to see if anything needs actioning urgently. The teams I mentioned earlier, they do have access to all of the dashboards and all of the feedback themselves. So I'm confident that it's going to the right people and the right teams to action.
Amazing. Which feedback channels matter most to your team?
Mm. It's like asking me if I have a favorite child. I love them all equally, obviously. So we value all customer feedback, no matter what the channel is. And our customers are really busy people. So they run small businesses or they're landlords, often on the side of their day to day job. So the fact that they've actually taken the time out to give us feedback is something that we're really, really grateful for. And we do pay attention to it all. So I can't choose a favorite.
Difficult to choose, of course.
Yeah.
Would you say that there is any underrated feedback source out there?
Yeah, I'd say social media feedback. I'd say feedback shared via social media really needs to be taken seriously because it's a direct and immediate channel for understanding customer opinions and identifying any potential issues. And also, it can really damage brand reputation. So, not only can customers speak directly to you, but they can also talk about you to each other. So, the potential and the brand impact can actually be huge.
Absolutely, an important one. One CX metric you're obsessed with?
Again, I can't really choose one. I'd say it's important to track a range of CX metrics to get a more holistic picture. So, I think it's important to choose metrics that the business can relate to and that the business can connect to just to motivate people. And ultimately so they know how they can influence and contribute towards them. So they need to be easy to understand. And we need to remember that the value in tracking a metric is ultimately if you can act upon the result.
So it has to be actionable. I love
Yeah,
that. Yes.
absolutely.
What's the biggest CX myth you wish would disappear?
The biggest CX myth, I'd say the fact that CX is the same for everybody. It's not. So it's crucial to avoid a one size fits all CX strategy. Customers are diverse, their needs are diverse across segments, across touch points. And I'd say effective CX acknowledges that by delivering a tailored, personalized experience and by understanding different customer profiles and adapting with relevant context that we can ultimately foster higher satisfaction and customer loyalty.
Now, a tough one. The next question is a tough one. What's your go to way to get buy in from leadership?
Mm. Okay, so at Into Business, we love data as an organization. The more data we can share, the better. So we use Chattermill to show key data insight on customer sentiment trends and present it in a visually compelling way. But it's not just about presenting the data. So we need to make sure we're providing actionable insights and recommendations that senior management can understand and connect with and can prioritize based on the business impact. So we often consider factors like retention and NPS improvement potential when we present these.
And I love that recommendations part as well, which I think is super, super important. What's the most unexpected insight from customer feedback that you've discovered?
So the customer feedback we get is incredibly varied given the number of businesses and the type of businesses we serve. It's always a really lovely surprise when we get positive feedback about customer service representative that has gone above and beyond for our customers. As I mentioned, I like to share that with them and their team so that they know the impact that they're making and how appreciated they are by our customers.
And speaking of positive feedback, what's the best compliment a customer has given your team?
Oh, there's so many. We always aim to make our customers feel the best. And I think we do succeed with that ethos. I've read a lot of customer feedback where customers have been so happy with the experience that they received from the agent that they want to marry them. So there's been many marriage proposals and feedback, as well as customers saying, give this person a pay rise. Like they were absolutely amazing. I really love seeing feedback like that. And again, we make sure that feedback does get to that agent who gave that incredible experience.
I definitely would not expect a marriage proposal, but I absolutely love that idea. What's your favorite Chattermill feature and why?
I'd say the impact analysis feature has been really powerful for us as a business. We've been using it more and more recently to be able to understand which trends are impacting our net promoter score the most and be able to pinpoint any drops in specific categories. So that really helps us when we're talking to our senior leadership team to present the robust data that
Mm.
we need in order to help the prioritization process and make smarter CX decisions.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
I think it's that advocating for improvements that directly help our wonderful customers. So
Mm.
ultimately making a positive change for these customers and seeing the positive impact of my work both on those customers and the business in general. And that's incredibly rewarding for me. And it fosters a sense of purpose and accomplishment, I'd say.
The best piece of career advice you've ever received?
I think it was don't be backwards and coming forwards. So never limit your potential. And I think that always stays in my mind. There's endless possibilities. There's never a bad idea, never a bad question. So don't be afraid to ask those questions that everybody probably in the room is thinking. Don't be backwards about it.
And thank you for sharing that because I think that's so important, especially for CX people, CX managers who are at the beginning of their career, at the beginning of their journey. Absolutely. And the last one, a fun one. If your CX team had a tagline, what would it be?
It would be simply the best CX team. And that might sound a bit boring, but if you've seen our advert, if you've seen Simply Business's advert, it will make a lot of sense. And if you haven't, I urge you to watch it on YouTube because it's quite fun. But yes, simply the CX team.
I definitely need to watch it. Definitely need to watch it. And we'll make sure to add it, actually, a link under the article with our interview so that everyone else can also see it. Rishma, that was my last question, but that was a lovely conversation. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, we will be sharing this interview, this video with the entire community, and I'm really happy that everyone can watch it because I think you've shared so many great pieces of advice for people who are not only starting their career but also starting maybe with their Chattermill account. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. And I guess if you allow us, we're gonna share your LinkedIn profile so that everyone else can get in touch with you and say hi. Thank you for joining us.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time and for reaching out. Speak to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.